Thanks for joining us for the Assassin Breakfast Show. So we have a very, well, I personally have a very simple question, but altogether the entire team have a question. Who are you putting your children and their upbringing and their raising and all of those things to? Who's looking after them? See, I have 2 teenage sons, and growing up, well, these are children who were born after the iPad was released, so they started playing with devices quite early. Well, the question is, have you given your children the opportunity to access devices to the point where that's what they feel should control their lives? What we didn't know then, what looked like the aspirational middle class thing to do, unbeknownst to most of us, was actually something that was contributing to negative physical, emotional, and cognitive outcomes. If you don't believe me, we'll find out in a minute. Let's take a listen. For those of you who are on social media following the stream, you can watch this short excerpt just to give you a background to why we have to have a conversation about screen time and its impact on our children.
Good afternoon, everyone. Lovely to see you all. Lovely to be here. I'm going to start with a slender anecdote, totally true, from about 4 weeks ago. It was early evening, and I was on a packed 19 bus in London, standing over a young man and a young woman. They were sitting beside each other, both gazing at their smartphones. Nothing unusual about this, of course. They were both attractive, smartly dressed, professional looking, around the same age. Willfully invading their privacy, I subtly angled myself to see what they were up to on their phones. They were each on dating apps, reading the profiles of men and women who presented as extremely similar to the two of them. Our bus, completely true, our bus reached Piccadilly Circus and both happened to alight at this stop. I watched the two of them as they walked away from each other, one towards Shaftesbury Avenue and the other towards St James's. I don't need to labour the point of what I witnessed with this couple never to be. They were side by side, both seeking companionship or love, but they didn't even register each other's existence. Social media is described as a great connecting force, and it can be a wonderful thing. But when we stop noticing people in our immediate surroundings in favour of the swirling masses online, I don't think of it in quite such a warm, fuzzy glow. Whether it's my young couple from the bus, teens alone in their bedrooms glued to hours of futile or dangerous rubbish, parents scrolling on their phones while their babies try in vain to catch their eye, or toddlers given Siri voice companions in nurseries, none of these newly acquired habits seem to bode well for our collective spiritual flourishing. The disintegration of adult society and the loneliness of our elderly population is bleak enough. But the digital destruction of childhood is a crisis we must face if we're to have an alliance of remotely functioning citizens, let alone responsible ones. I first became interested in the topic of screens and children a few years ago when I was made patron of the education charity School Home Support. I visited schools up and down the country, and too often I saw children distracted in classrooms, yet silent in playgrounds. Screens were taking their attention away from their teachers during lessons and away from each other during break time. I also observed children in general becoming a different species. The raucous exuberance of youth was being replaced with an anxious, irritable insularity, which was disturbing to see. From a personal point of view, I know that if I'd had devices in and out of the classroom, I would have bombed academically. I'd have been constantly distracted, thrilled by all the garbage available online. I wouldn't have read any books, and I'd have got up to goodness knows what on my various machines. Our household landline was quite derailing enough. Looking back, I cherish the very analogue form of education that I received and the very human connection with my beloved teachers. It's been one of the greatest gifts of my life, and I want all children to be able to focus, to acquire knowledge, and to achieve their maximum potential. I think that should be every civilised society's aim. But the evidence shows that we have already put this gravely at risk. We left the doors to our children's classrooms, their bedrooms, and their minds wide open to the world. Perhaps we thought we were giving children the right to access everything which might be good out there, but instead we've given everyone else, the good and the bad, access to our children. Let's consider some facts and figures. As illustrated in Jonathan Haidt's book, The Anxious Generation, the great rewiring of childhood is causing a plague of mental illness in our children. In the decade up to 2020, the suicide rate for younger teens increased by 167% among girls and 91% among boys. Hospital admissions for children with eating disorders in the UK have risen sixfold in a decade, the contagious influence of social media cited as a major factor. And 2022 saw a 500% increase of self-harming among teens over the past 9 years. In a British study last year, researchers found that 1 in 3 children are now short-sighted. Myopia is predicted to affect nearly 1 billion children around the world by 2050.
The ABS, the Saucy Breakfast Show.
And I will just pause on that. We'll make the entire video available on our social media stream and our platforms just for you to take your time and go through it. Some startling statistics in that particular presentation. And as I did say, I'm not going to say I'm one of those parents who didn't give their child a device. We were sold the idea that a device will help your child develop because they're all the Peppa Pig and Diego what's the guy's name? Diego the Adventurer, Dora the Explorer, all of these other things. They were all available there for us. But little did we know that what was supposed to be a tool could also become the very weapon that would destroy our children. So, to help us have this conversation, we have in the studio Martha Agbedu. Martha is a... Did I get your name right? Adegbedu. See, someone didn't spell the thing right. I know who. I'll kick them if I can reach their shins. Martha Adegbedu. Good. And... we also will be joined by another parent, Mrs. Kuma, and Dr. Yvonne Nana Amabru, who's a developmental pediatrician. I never knew we had a developmental pediatrician. I thought pediatricians just looked after the little ones, but I'm excited to have you all in the studio. Good morning, Doc, and good morning, Martha.
Good morning.
And I believe we have on the line Mrs. Kuma. Mrs. Kuma, good morning.
Good morning.
Fantastic. I'm happy to have you join us. Now, I would like to start, first of all, with all three of you to share with us how old your little ones are.
Okay.
So, Martha, yours is 3 years. Okay. And Mrs. Kumar?
Mine is now 6.
Okay, 6 years. Okay. So, now, more importantly, let's get into... when you exposed them, and I'll start with you, Mrs. Kumar. Share with us how early you expose your child to devices.
Okay, we started at the age of 3 months.
Whoa, 3 months, okay.
3 months because at least it keeps me, it's only the two of us, my husband and I and him,
Okay.
that live around. So if my husband is out and no help, so he got him, it's not even like a tablet, it's like a laptop that he himself can flip it when he's watching the cartoon.
Okay.
So at the age of 3 months, he was using it. So flipping it, like touching it or something, changes by its own self to keep him whilst I'm also doing my thing.
Okay. Wow. And Martha, how about you?
I exposed baby around 4 months.
Okay, so around about the same time.
Due to busy work.
Okay.
Going to distract baby.
Okay. Now I want to start off, and then we're going to tell our individual stories. So in 2 minutes, Mrs. Kumar, share with us how exposure to digital screen has impacted on your child?
Okay. So, in fact, we're not aware that it would do anything to the child. So, he was using it to, when he was somewhere, during COVID, he was going to, we started school at the age of 3 months. So, COVID time, I had another baby. So, I have to go to my auntie's place for them to take care of me and him. But they realized something. In fact, he runs a lot. He doesn't sit. He runs around and be making sound. Even if you beat him, he uses his head to hit the wall. He does things that are not normal. But my mind was on it for my auntie saying, my son is behaving like the cartoons that he's watching on the screen. I'm like, how? So I did not pay attention though. But there was a time, 2022, we visited my in-law. She has done child psychology. So when she saw the way he was running, it was like, no. It seems the child is a little hyper. I should take him to the hospital and be sure I'll be helped. But now, we don't sit with any disability or something. Okay. So as soon as she told me that, I gathered the courage. But then I brought the junior brother to reach emergency, and I told them about my first child. They were like, oh. On Monday, I should come to Monday clinic to see Dr. Bruce. So I said, okay, I will do that. So because it's COVID, we were not working in the house, those lockdown time. So I went there and I met Dr. Bruce. She asked me questions and stuff, and she was like, she will start everything at the age of 3. Because when the child is less than 3, you can't, most of the things they are doing are normal.
Right.
So
what did you discover by age 3 about your own child? What did you discover by age 3 about your child?
Okay, so it's there. It hasn't changed. So, but it has to stop. As we stopped, but things were a little bit normal. But the problem is he was not talking. He was not talking.
Okay. All right.
And he couldn't even mention dad or mom.
Wow. Okay. We'll get to that in a moment. We'll talk to Dr. Brew in a moment. But Akpele, I saw you nodding when Mrs. Kuma was describing the situation. Is your situation any different?
Yes, it's the same thing. I noticed when child was around 1 year.
Okay.
We actually went to the clinic for normal visits. And a doctor prompted me that your daughter has been in the consulting room for a while, but I didn't hear any sound. Previously, child was babbling.
Okay.
So, I thought that was it. There was a positive feedback. So I became aware.
Okay.
Then I observed child and noticed, yes, child is supposed to be calling my name and responding to her name, but she wasn't. So the doctor prompted me to pay attention to speech and then referred me for speech therapy.
Okay.
When I went there, they told me to avoid the screens for now. It was early enough, so I should avoid screens.
Okay.
I couldn't start therapy because of personal reasons.
Okay.
But then I noticed after that, after taking time to look at my child closely, I noticed that aside the responding to child's name, child was very hyperactive.
Okay.
I also noticed that child was scattered, child wasn't organized and wasn't behaving like her peers in other sectors as well.
Okay.
And that's what alarmed me.
Wow. Okay. Well, thanks very much. Dr. Yvonne Nana Ama-Brew is a developmental pediatrician. Are these things very alarming to you?
Yes, it is quite alarming because I think over the last few years, these type of children have become so many that's a common cause of children coming to the developmental clinic.
Okay.
previously, if you asked me what are the common cases you see in a developmental clinic, I'll say cerebral palsy, epilepsy, Down syndrome. But in the last 3 years, most of the children I see are children who are not speaking because they've had a lot of screen overexposure.
Wow. And I mean, so as I mentioned earlier, growing up, I kind of thought, okay, well, raising, our children, we both, my partner and I, thought, exposing them to these things is good. It's technology. That's the world they're going to live in now. And so we gave them these devices. How do these things affect the children?
So it's always important for us to look at how the human develops.
Okay.
If a child is born, at the time of birth, the brain is still actively growing in size and in complexity. And the complexity bit has to do with your interaction with your environment. So your family, extended family, the natural world, and what you have around you. Now, what screen does, which is, I think, the basic, is that it interrupts those interactions should have with humans and your environment. So a child is just stuck, and so the brain does not learn to synapse. And then that keeps you at a very basic animal instinct. So you just have those basic animal instincts. It doesn't allow you to become human because you need to interact with others and with your environment to be human.
Wow. And these are things that overexposure to screens are creating. So apart from delayed speech, what other external symptoms could one observe?
Yes. So even though the parents always come with, my child has delayed speech, we have what we call developmental assessment.
Okay.
Where we assess all the domains a child should have. So we check your communication, and speech is just a little part of communication. Communication, we have the verbal and non-verbal. So as we are sitting here, you're looking at me, you are reading me. That's, you have to observe people to be able to do that.
Right.
So parents think it's just speaking. No, but the whole communication block, the children do not develop it. And the first one is the basic eye contact. I look at you, you look at me. The children don't develop that, or they lose it. Then we come to the gross motor, where you run around, you jump, and you use your big muscles. You find these children tiptoeing because they can't balance themselves. So they tiptoe instead of walking.
Wow. And
they are very unstable in their gait. If you look at the fine motor, where you use your fingers and your hand-eye coordination, these kids can't use their fingers. So when you're giving them something, they can't hold it. And then if they hold anything, they just throw them away. They're just throwing things, destroying things and all. You find that they can't kick a ball, for instance. You give them a football, and they don't know what to do with a football. A 5-year-old. Yes. And then you can look at their social development. It's also how they relate with other people. Their mother can leave them in the room, and the child doesn't even realize the mother has left. Or they are very clinging to their parents, not relating with other people. If you look at their personal social, they'll be in diapers when they should have gone off diapers. They are still taking feeding bottles. They can't chew because they've never learned how to chew. You know, the parents give them the screen when they're feeding them. So the kid doesn't learn to taste food. So it's only liquids that the kids take. So they lose that ability to develop. They can't button where they are dressed. They can't button their clothes. Yes. So it's all across board. And then the cognitive. The parents think their kids are smart because the kids are reciting A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, and maybe even reading words. But a very quick way to check a child's cognition below the age of 5 is to give them a picture and ask them what is happening in the picture. First of all, the child won't even look at the picture. And then when they can't look at still pictures, they are used to moving pictures. So when you give them any picture, they expect the picture to move. If it's not moving, they can't look at it. It affects their eyesight.
Yeah, as the speaker and that myopia.
Are always fixed on something very close to you, and the colors are bright. But in nature, colors are not that bright. So you have to learn how to look at various colors. So they miss that as well. Their hearing, the TV cartoons and whatever they watch has the frequency is the same. So it trains the child's ears to listen to only specific sounds. So the child blocks out all the other sounds outside that range.
Oh, wait.
So the child would only turn the head if you play a certain cartoon, but if you speak to them as humans, they can't recognize that. Yes, so it's important for us to recognize that it cuts across all the domains, all the developmental milestones, as well as the critical hearing and vision.
How did we get here? I mean, at what point do screens become lethal appliances that we hand to our children that we know we love and claim to love?
Yes, I think that perhaps prior to the lockdown, children were not spending so much time. I think during the lockdown, I may be wrong, but we could check, the cost of screens became cheaper.
Okay.
And I think parents felt that was a way to entertain children at home. And so parents got screens and the children were on the screen all the time. The schools were encouraging screens, and so the children spent hours. For the children I see, the minimum any child has spent on the screen per day is 6 hours. Now, parents think it's just the phone, but what I have noticed recently, if I take the history properly, is that the TV is also on 24 hours. But then the TV is on, and then the child is also given a screen. So the sound and the lights around is just screen, the small screen and the big screen. The child is not exposed to even the parents themselves. And that's how I think. So if you look at my data, you can see a rise from 2020, from the lockdown, and it's escalated till now. It's really gone up.
Now, this is a very alarming situation. And in your line of work, as you say, you have now seen a lot more of children being presented with these symptoms. At the moment, how would you say in terms of the numbers that you're working with?
In a week, I see up to 10 new cases, sometimes up to 20.
Wow.
In a week, yes. They come a lot.
Is this, in terms of medical terminology, are we getting to a place where this is an endemic situation, or we're not there yet?
It's difficult for me to say because you need to have large data.
Okay.
But I think that you can interview those in public health.
Yeah.
They should be having that
kind of data.
But I'm looking at it from a clinic point of view.
Yeah.
Children coming in. Now, one of the basic things we started doing at Ridge Hospital when we started seeing these children coming in, because the children were coming in at 3, 4, 5. So the question was, can't we pick that child up at 1 and 2 so that we can help make some changes? So because of that, we started training all our healthcare workers, the front line at the weighing center and at the emergency and the children OPD, to screen all children coming in with a developmental tool. So as they screen the children, they can pick them up at 1 year and see a child who is showing addiction to the screen or not reacting well to other people. And so such basic screens helped us to pick up a lot of children long before they got to 3, 4 years where the damage is so much evident.
Wow. So I know we've got very little time with you today, but this is something that I feel is important, and I must say thank God for your life, and thank you for actually taking this up and trying to drive awareness. What should parents who today may have not yet seen the symptoms do to ensure that their children are not overexposed?
So let's follow the World Health Organization guidelines. We are not the first to have screen. Screens have been in other countries for a long time, and so they have the data. We don't need to lose our children and create data to prove a point. The data is there, and so the World Health Organization says that children under 2 years should not have access to a screen at all.
Okay.
Because it destroys their growing brain. And children from 3 to 5 years should have a maximum of 1 hour of screen, maximum. And that should include even video calls and stuff like that. And it should be under supervision. So like the whole family is watching a movie.
Yeah.
Yes. And it shouldn't go beyond 1 hour. And I think going with those guidelines, we will protect all children below the age of 5 from screen addiction. This means that if the parent is doing 1 hour screen with a 4-year-old at home, the school then has no business showing the child cartoons at school or using a screen to teach a child below 5. And so our campaign is to get all preschools to stop using screen to teach children in any form, whether it's phone, TV, laptop, projection, whatever, and to rather go back to doing the human to human and books as a primary way of teaching. And parents shouldn't say it hasn't affected my child. I think sometimes in Ghana we have the attitude that, my child has been watching cartoons
and they're fine
until they come for an assessment and then they realize that the child has issues that they are not recognizing, and then that's when so it was affecting my child. Alcohol is not good for children. Maybe your child can take alcohol and be fine, but it doesn't mean that alcohol is helping your child. Long term, you are going to see the impact and you won't like it. And so we all need to sit up. If your child is speaking like a cartoon, if your child is just reciting rhymes, A, B, C, D, and 1, 2, 3, if your child is speaking in a foreign voice, and let me make you laugh.
Because that's what they're exposed to.
The funny one is parents who speak only Twi, but their child speaks only English.
Hey, Raddy.
They speak only Twi, but they're so then you ask, how do you speak to your child? No, they don't speak to their child at all.
Wow.
They want their child to learn English, and so the child is on the screen all the time. But both parents speak only Twi.
Whoa, now that's alarming.
Yes.
That is alarming. Let's invite our friends listening to us this morning. Look, this is I am declaring this a national emergency. And the reason is that even among grown-ups, even among people who were born before the iPad, have problems today once they get exposed to devices. I mean, I know people in their 60s who now they acquired a smartphone and you can't get them to look at human beings anymore. Spending hours and hours watching reels and all sorts of things. Give us a call on 020-000-9951 or 054-8888-995. Share your own experiences with us. Are you exposing younger people to screens? How are you mitigating against the potential risk of overexposure to screens, so we don't have children who have, childhood depression and anxiety, sleep disorders, and the part that kills me, and in that story, two young people who clearly are busy looking for connections are sitting next to each other, and they didn't even stop to say, "Hi, how are you?" Oh, okay, and not even just starting conversations because they're only used to staring at a screen. It is a problem that we need to deal with. Mrs. Kumar, I want to come back to you now at this point. So what are you doing now to ensure that you're able to bridge the gap between the challenge that your child has and bringing them towards normalcy?
Okay, so me, now it's fine in the sense that Dr. Blue made us went through the speech therapy. We only went there for assessment, but did not continue because I followed Dr. Blue's advice, and we went to the occupational therapist for a while. That one we stopped. So we stopped. We don't have tele. We don't have tele in the hall. We have removed it. We pack all the tablets. So Dr. Blue asked her. By then, like she said, doesn't know what ball is. Even he doesn't know what book is. So what Dr. Blue said, we should buy him a Lego. The Lego can make him sit down. So my husband went out and bought a lot of Lego, different types, cars that he can fix, books, colorful books and stuff. By the grace of God, in fact, it's fine. By then, it doesn't write, and it started speaking all of a sudden. So as for pen, we don't have it. I don't have it in my hall because I want my afternoon. I don't have it. I don't give him phone. If somebody will ask, so how do I entertain the child? He has a lot of plain shapes. He likes drawing. He'll come and draw. If he wants to write, he writes. He takes his books. I want to read, he read. He play with the siblings, cars, fixing the Legos and stuff. So they find things around to do instead of the screen time. So that's what I can say.
All right. Akpene, what are you doing differently now?
Okay. So at first, I want to concentrate on the food because she has talked about the other sectors. So I would give her the screen to eat. She doesn't like food. It was difficult taking the decision to take the screen off for the food because this girl will not take a spoon of proper food without the screen. Yes. So each time she was feeding, he had to use the screen.
Wow.
Yes, it was a tough decision, to implement. So I did it, and first it was just porridge she would take. Now she would take rice for breakfast.
Okay.
Yes. She would take heavy food. Even the food that she used to like previously, which are the sugary foods, she's toning down on
those as well. Right.
So,
and how's her interaction like?
Yes. Now eye contact is great.
Okay.
Yes. And she wasn't listening to her name, but now she picks instructions. Stop it.
Okay.
She stops it. Get down. She will get down. Yeah. And
These are stories that make Dr. Brew very happy.
She says a few words.
Okay.
Yeah. She knows her fruits now. She knows some basic things now. Yeah, and I'm happy to see the progress.
Okay.
I started in January, and it's just a few months.
What?
I'm surprised.
In January?
Yes. I'm
Okay.
amazed, yes.
Well, imagine what this would look like if you carried on. And for me, I think, Dr. Brew, what I'm taking away from this now is that parenting is not just providing food, clothing, and shelter. I think it starts with human interaction.
Yes. And so that's why I'm pushing for us to humanize our children.
Yes.
Our children are humans. They are not robots. They are not computers. We need to humanize them and give them that childhood we had. We should give them, let them play outside, let them interact with other children, let them fight physically, because they need all of that to learn how to live in a society. They need the noise, they need the activity. So our children, as part of our therapy, our children go to the market 2 to 3 times a week.
Wow.
Yes, they go around, the parents take them around the market to get them used to human beings, to understand how.
And of course, the complex environment of a market.
Yes.
There's some trotro shouting over
Very
there.
good.
There's someone selling.
Yes.
So different things in the
It's
environment.
really helping our children to their ears to learn to accept different sounds and to relax when there are different sounds, because typically those children are very anxious, always crying, very, very anxious. But once they realize that, oh, life is like that, with all the noise, they start to calm down, and then therapies can work.
Wow.
I think she goes
Akwana, you go to the market with your
Yes,
child.
I go to the market a lot and other social events. At first, she was hyperactive, so I didn't want to take her anywhere. But after consultation, I was told I should rather expose her. So I exposed her. When I was saying my symptoms, I forgot to say that she wasn't responding to her name to the extent that if I wanted to call her, I have to on Coco Melon. And ping, 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 Coco Melon. Then she ran. Yes.
You used to call your daughter with Coco Melon?
Yes. Yes. It was that
Dr. Brew, we thank God.
Yeah.
That is not the story today.
Yeah.
That you now call her by her name and
yes.
she responds.
bad. Yes. If she wants to come, she will come.
Wow. But can you imagine a world where the intervention you're providing was not available, and even the knowledge to recognize that there was problems was not available?
Yeah, well, we hope it's not too late for some of the children, because you see how the brain development, the age is very important. The earlier they come in, the better. I'm having 10-year-olds coming in. In fact, I got a phone call after the first video went viral. A parent said, "It's now I'm seeing why my child behaves the way he is. He's 10, he's doing very well in school, but he can't interact with other people. And why would we have children who can't socialize? Because life is all about how well you can network, how well you can socialize with other people. And so parents need to sit up. Let's give our children that childhood where we play outside."
You know, I saw your video earlier this month, and when I saw it, I've become a little apathetic. Because and again, I kind of feel that people need to be a little bit more responsible for the outcomes they want in their children. But the more I started talking to people, it changed my perspective that we're all very different, and so the extent to which somebody might be able to drill into available information to take decisions would be different. With that in mind, what do you think we need to do beyond conversations like this to ensure that more and more parents are aware of the dangers of overexposure to screens?
Yes, that's a very good one. We need a government policy. You know how all cigarettes have not for children under 18. Yes, alcohol not to be sold to children under 18. We need to have a policy. Children below this age cannot be exposed to screen. And so with a government policy, you can have the cyber security coming in, the GES, educational sector coming in, social welfare coming in, health, all coming in to help make this a reality. Because parents won't understand. They are listening to a doctor and they are wondering that, well, I haven't seen one around. But I tell parents that if you think you haven't seen one, check your church's Sunday school. Talk to the teachers in your Sunday school. They will show you a child who clearly fits this model. But we need to protect all children and shouldn't wait for them to get to this stage. So we will need to lobby and have the appropriate government response. We need a parliament to also talk about this. Children below a certain age should not be exposed to screen. And if media stations and stuff should not target children below a certain age with their programs, whether it's from outside or because we can block all of that and not expose our children to this, and then parents have to then can be exposed to what else they can do with their children. And when we were young, we played outside.
Yes, we did.
And so if parents know that that is actually what is right, they will get it done. So we need a lot of voices, but we need our parliamentarians, we need our government agencies to come out and say that yes, it's a problem and we need to save our children.
Yes, I know you've started this campaign. In fact, if I don't live for anything at all, I'm pledging to join you on this crusade because it's very disturbing. Even for my two sons who are now teenagers, they interact with people. But there are days where they could just want to be indoors. And even that, when I'm around, I observe and I keep the time. And I'm like, when they were younger, I had time limits on devices. But now they're older, so they have the freedom to choose how much time they spend. But even then, I get involved. How important is it for parents to develop a hands-on relationship with their children, in spite of the pressures of life? Because Charlie, sometimes you leave the house at 5 and you come at 8.
Yes. So I have been talking a lot about little children because that's of concern to me as a developmental pediatrician.
Yeah.
But I'm aware that a lot of parents of teenagers are calling and asking for help. And that's why we need a government policy so that we can have the different cadre of health care workers and psychologists stepping in with what is appropriate guidelines for each of these age groups. I can clearly talk about the below 5 because World Health Organization has set guidelines. But we need to have a voice in Ghana setting guidelines. I think we've heard about Australia trying to put in guidelines for children under 16. UK also putting in guidelines for children under 13. Ghana, we need to also come out clearly on the use of screen, whether for education, because just because you are using it for education does not mean you will not get overexposed. If a child can do human education, why do we want to put in a screen? And so that there will be limits to how much screen these children are being exposed to, whether in education or for entertainment. And why do we want to entertain children with a screen when we have so much space in Ghana that children can entertain themselves with? Even doing catapults to the it's a very good, improves your eyes and kites, improves your eyesight. You can look at things far, and they're chasing lizards around like we did. Those things are all very important to help children.
Fritz thinks it's funny. We did chase lizards. Ohemi will teach you how to do it. It's called underwall. Yeah? That's how have you ever chased a lizard?
Oh yes, I did.
You chased lizard? Oh, congratulations. I'm proud of you. Like, I'm really, really proud of you. But these are very, very serious situations. I know, doctor, you've got to go. You have a waiting room full of patients waiting for you. But we're grateful, and I can guarantee you, if for nothing at all, I will champion this cause with you.
Please do.
And hopefully we can save a lot more young people and give them a chance to live their full potential. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very
And
much.
that was Dr. Yvonne Nanama Brew, and she's a developmental pediatrician. You'll find her at the Accra Ridge Hospital, or the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, at the pediatrics unit, but the developmental clinic there. We have in the studio Martha Akene, and Mrs. Kumar is still on the line. Mrs. Kumar.
Hello,
yes.
yes.
So, with the interventions that you've seen, that you've been making so far, how will you describe the improvement that you've seen?
Oh, I would say it's better. Thanks so much, Dr. Brew, because the advice and teachings really help us. Like I said, wasn't talking, but he doesn't know a lot of things. Through everything that the Brew said we should do, especially more radios. I forgot to say that, to play more radio around so you can hear more voices. It's fine. It's now in grade 1. It's communicating well, and the eye contact, at first it was not. But now, even if you beat him on something, you open the eyes and look at you straight, and you be like, stop looking at me like that. It's better now. He writes. Everything that he was not able to do, it's fine, and he's fixed.
Wow. Fantastic.
I really appreciate Dr. Brew's team and the work they are doing. I was so happy, and my husband were so happy missing her. This is a joy to us now.
Great. Well, we're very happy for this testament, and we wish you both very, very well. I wish you all the very best. Mrs. Kumar, we're grateful for your bravery, for sharing your story with us, and hopefully you've been an encouragement to others. And likewise, you, Martha Akpene Adegbadu, thank you so much for joining us on the Asasi Breakfast Show.
Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.